This is the Tom Green Show. It's not the Green Tom Show. This is my favorite show because it is my show. If this was your show, you'd probably like it more than I did. That's just because it was your show. But it's not your show. It's the Tom Green Show. The Tom Green Show. The Tom Green Show.
Hello.
The Tom Green Show.
Keep it going. Keep it going.
Tom Green Show.
Have we got a show tonight, Los Angeles? Have we got a show tonight? Thank you for coming. Welcome to the show. This is Tom Green here, live at the SModCastle. Yes. And this is very exciting. This is the 6th episode of this show. You see, we have a full house tonight. This thing is taken off. And what a show we have. We have a very special treat tonight. I don't want to spend too much time here with the introduction, so I'm just going to bring him out. The man of the hour. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for NormMacdonald. Everybody. All right.
Hey, Tom.
There we go.
Yeah.
There we go.
What?
How's it going?
It's going great,
Yeah,
man.
this is it. And here we are. See, this is how it works.
Yeah, can you believe we're in Hollywood?
Yeah, we're in Hollywood. We did it.
Yeah, a couple of kids from the Ottawa Valley.
Yeah, Beacon Hill.
Yeah.
This is a very we grew up very close to one another. You know, really close, just miles away, mere miles away. Jasper, you were on Jasper.
That's right.
I was on Monson Crescent in Beacon Hill, Ontario, Canada. Everybody, if you're listening on the internet, Google that. And you went to Gloucester High School.
That's right.
Gloucester Gators. I was a rival high school, Colonel by Cougars.
Oh, is that what they were called, the Cougars?
The Cougars, yeah.
Yeah.
That was before Cougars meant something else, though.
Yeah, Cougars used to mean, in my day, Cougars meant a large jungle cat.
Yeah. Now it means, what's it mean now?
Now it means, I don't know.
A middle-aged woman who likes having sex with 20-year-olds or something like that? No?
It's very unseemly.
Yeah. Something like that, right?
Yeah.
Something disgusting like that, right? Well, this is cool. This is going to be fun. This is my 6th show. It's kind of interesting.
Who have you had so far? Who were your first 5?
First guest was Bill Burr.
Bill Burr, a great comedian, great stand-up.
Absolutely. Then we had
State of the art.
Absolutely. It was awesome. Great time. You probably know everybody that's done the show. We had Joe Rogan last week.
Number 2, last week was Joe Rogan. Yeah, excellent.
Yeah, we had
drug user.
Yep.
Self-proclaimed.
He talked quite a bit about
he takes DMT and so forth.
Absolutely. Yeah, we talked a lot about DMT.
Yeah.
Do you know what that stuff is, or?
It's a very, very powerful. Isn't it a tranquilizer of some sort of an animal? Cat tranquilizer?
Yeah, something like that. I think it comes from a plant or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but anyways, yeah.
What about those guys that are like, hey, it's natural. It comes from a plant.
Yeah, exactly. So does heroin, I think.
So does cyanide.
Yeah.
What about, what was your second guest?
The second guest was Hal Sparks.
Hal Sparks, okay.
Very entertaining. He has a lot of opinions about things.
Who else?
The third guest was, I believe, Harland Williams.
Oh, Harland, the great Harland Williams, our good friend. Yeah.
Another Canadian friend of ours. And then John Doerr.
John Doerr. Oh, I know John Doerr. Yeah, he's great
also from Ottawa.
He's from Ottawa?
He's from Ottawa, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah, I worked with him. He's hilarious.
Yeah, so, and...
you know the guy Mario Cantone?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's gay, you know. Out of the closet gay.
Yeah.
I mean, that's his act, that he's gay. You know?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I'm not saying anything that's...
You didn't out him.
I'm not telling any tales out of school.
No, okay, yeah.
But anyways, here I am, a young lad auditioning for the Joan Rivers show when it was on.
Yeah.
It's the first time I ever came to the United States. Me and Howard Busgang.
Yeah.
And so me and Howard Busgang and Mario Cantone, Joan Rivers likes us all, you know. So we're at the Hyatt Regency, which is across from the Comedy Store, where we auditioned for Joan Rivers.
Yeah.
And it's me and Howard Busgang are in the room, you know, and Howard Busgang smoked marijuana at the time, you know.
Sure.
I don't.
Yeah.
You know? But he smoked marijuana, and I was watching.
Yeah.
And so I said, Howard, man, it's weird. You're just smoking marijuana all by yourself. Why don't you invite old Mario Cantone over, right? So he phones Mario Cantone's room. Mario Cantone goes, yeah, I'll come over. So he comes over like a minute later, all red-faced with his lover, right?
Yeah, okay.
He's also red-faced. They're drenched in sweat.
Okay, yeah. They've just been fornicating.
Yeah, they've been fornicating.
Yeah.
And so they're like, yeah, we'll take some. So they take a quick, smoke this joint so that they'll enhance their orgasm later, right?
Right, sure, okay.
Then they give it back to poor Howard Busgang. And he's sitting there with this joint that has God knows what on it.
Yeah. Yeah, because,
Yeah, so Howard Busgang, in an effort to be politically correct, even though they're gone, smokes the joint and gets full-blown AIDS. No. No, I just made up that last part. No, Howard Busgang's a great guy. He's doing a show right now.
Wow, yeah.
In Canada.
Well, that's well, that must have been pretty exciting doing the Joan Rivers show, first time in
I didn't do it.
Oh, okay. You didn't do it?
No. Mark Breslin was the booker of it. Who was the Yuck Yucks guy. He said, hey, come on down and audition for Joan Rivers. And I said, I don't want to do Joan Rivers because I wanted to do the Johnny Carson program.
Sure, yeah.
And so he said, no, just come down. So I went down, and then Joan Rivers said, yeah, you can be on the show. And then I said, no, I don't want to be on the show. And then I couldn't work for Yuck Yucks for 4 months.
Right, because he was probably mad about that.
Yeah.
But Joan Rivers, obviously, if you did that show, you wouldn't have done Johnny Carson, I guess.
I didn't do Johnny Carson either.
But
I ended up doing Pat Sajak.
Yeah. I remember that.
You remember the Pat Sajak show?
It was felt like he was very much trying to do sort of a Letterman type thing or something.
Yes, he was. He
like
was because he was also a funny weatherman like Letterman,
Yeah.
And but he was very nice to me. But he decided to do a 90-minute show.
Uh-huh.
This was 5 years after Johnny Carson decided that 90 minutes was too long for him.
Right. Yeah.
Pat Sajak figured he'd do 90 minutes. So there were so many guests that by the end of the show you would be way at the end of the couch. And there was a sidekick, Dan Miller, who Pat told me was the funniest guy in the world. And when Pat started out, wherever he started out, with Dan Miller was the anchor. And you know how guys are the funniest guy in the world, but only if you know everything about them?
Sure. Yeah.
So he was like, oh, you'll love this guy, Dan Miller. So he just sat there. He was a nice guy.
Yeah.
But anyways, there were so many guests. At one point, I was so far down the couch that I looked over at Dan Miller. He was reading a book during the television program.
So then, and then Letterman was that soon thereafter?
Yeah. I did like 5 Pat Sajaks, and then Letterman wanted me. And then he said, yeah. And then I saw my thing. It said, World National Television Debut. And I go, no, I already did Pat Sajak 5 times. And then they said, nah, we'll just say National.
That didn't count, right?
Yeah, that was just the farm league.
Wow, but that must, because I remember when I was like a kid, right? And I was doing the amateur night at Yuck Yucks, right? That's when I remember when you did Pat Sajak. I remember that. It was.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Everyone was talking about it. Yeah.
You know what's funny is that I'd go on the road sometimes, and everyone lies about their credits, So sometimes I'd be on stage, and the opener, he'd pretend he was on The Tonight Show, and the middle, pretend he was on Letterman, and then I was a headliner. I was on Pat Sajak, and they go, oh. Even though mine was the real credit.
Yeah.
You want to hear a funny story about Pat Sajak?
Yeah.
One time I was on it. You know Henny Youngman?
Sure.
Who ironically was an old man.
Yeah. Wasn't a young man at all.
He wasn't a young man.
He was a young man at one point.
At one point, when they named him, it made sense.
Just didn't change his name as he got older.
So he's on the show, and so Pat Sajak had an idea every week he'd do all comedy, which is not a good idea, especially when you're the last guy. So Henny Youngman came out, right? And he's a great comedian, So he did his comedy, then he goes over and he does the panel with Pat Sajak, right? Then halfway during the panel, he goes, I'd like to sing a song for the audience. It's a little song I made up, you know. So Pat Sajak goes, sure, you know. So he gets up and he walks over to the performing area, and he goes to step off the riser, and he trips. And I'm watching this backstage, you know, and he starts falling. It looks like slow motion, really slow. And then, you know, he's 80, and he goes down like face first, really, really hard on the floor. So they stop tape, and everybody's around, including Pat Sajak. It takes about a half hour to get him up. And he says, I want to continue. He's all like, now he's all blurry, you know. But it's like the show must go on. You know,
Right,
you
sure.
ever hear that?
Yeah.
Ridiculous, retarded maxim.
Yeah.
So he thought the show must go on. So now they restart it, and he's at the panel again. He's talking to Pat Sajak, and he's doing the same jokes and everything. And he goes, now I'd like to do a song. And then Pat Sajak goes, ah, and he gets up again, and he goes to step off the rise again. So Pat Sajak stops, and he goes, just do it here, you know. So he starts playing his violin, you know.
Yeah.
And he sings the song, and the song's all about how great it's not a funny song, it's all about how great the audience is. He goes, the audience is like butter crunch, they're the best. If it wasn't for them, you know. So the house goes crazy because here he's, you know, almost died, and now he's doing a song about how great the audience is. And then I have to go on next. So I'm like, oh, my God, like, and they just go crazy for him. So then I go on, I bomb for 5 minutes, you know, and then I walk over to the panel, you know, and you know how panel on works. The guy's sitting on the chair, and then he has to move over to the couch, and then you sit on the chair, right?
Yeah.
But Henny Youngman at this point's half dead, sitting on the chair, right? So he ain't moving, you know?
So you had to sit on the couch and
Yeah,
talk
so I had to
over him.
climb over him
Yeah.
and sit on the couch. So now there's a 3-shot. Pat Sajak's interviewing me, and there's a dead guy in between us. So we're doing our pre-planned, you know, stuff, and you got a dog, and I got a dog, and all this stuff, you know. And meanwhile, there's just a dead guy looking straight forward. And we do this for a couple of minutes in this insane 3-shot. And then all of a sudden, he snaps out of it, and he just looks over at me, and he goes, nice shirt. Somewhere there's a canopy missing on an Italian restaurant. That was the story.
Did you did you get nervous when you would do these early shows? Would you get nervous? Or were
Yeah, I get pretty nervous.
Yeah?
You?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm always nervous. I'm nervous when I'm not doing shows.
You are?
I'm just nervous all the time now.
Well, I'm
Something's
nervous
happened to
all
me.
the time, too, but I bet that people would think you and I weren't nervous. That would be my guess.
Yeah, that's why I was asking, because, you know, I would think that maybe you wouldn't be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would think you wouldn't be.
Yeah. I kind of think you wouldn't be.
Well, you can't judge a book by its cover,
Yeah.
right? Except
well,
Mein Kampf.
yeah. The swastika and the black leather binding kind of gives it away a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, so that's cool. So then, okay, well, this is cool. So wait, tell me what's something you remember about Beacon Hill that you think that maybe nobody would remember? I had an interesting conversation the other day. I ran into someone from Beacon Hill, and they talked about how they used to like going up to the Skillet at the Zellers to get fries and gravy. Did you ever do that?
Oh, I think that the skill was a ride. I do remember that.
The
Yeah.
Zellers department
Yeah,
store at
sure.
the mall had a
Sure.
restaurant in
Yeah,
it.
the skillet, of course, yeah.
And you could get fries and gravy
Sure,
there?
you get fries and gravy. You get a grilled cheese sandwich with a pickle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was something that I hadn't thought of in a long
skillet,
time.
yeah, I never have either. At first, when you said skillet, I thought you were talking about a ride or something I hadn't
Yeah.
heard of. But yeah, that's really going back.
This is something that nobody in Beacon Hill would even really have any enjoyment
I know,
listening
let
to,
alone-
because it's not even there anymore. But
Yeah, that's going way back.
yeah.
Skillet, wow.
Anything that you think that we could talk about Beacon Hill that nobody listening would have any interest in
Interested?
hearing about, but maybe might be kind of cool for us to talk about for a second?
No, what about you?
Well, there was, remember the Vibes? Remember Vibes, the record store at the
Yes.
Beacon Hill Mall?
Yeah, I remember that.
The mall was very centric for me growing up
It
there.
was?
Yeah, I worked at the Dairy Queen.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, my brother worked at that Dairy Queen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So wait, where are you? I've been doing stand-up comedy this year.
Yeah, I know. It's very exciting. Tom, out of the blue, decided to do stand-up comedy.
Yeah, it's been exciting. It's been
It
very
probably rose quicker than any stand-up comic in history.
Well, I've been very inspired by you and a lot of the guests that I've had on the web show. And there's people, I've been interviewing so many comedians over the last few years, and I'm just thinking, geez, why am I not trying to do this? So now we're playing together on New Year's Eve.
Yes, that's very exciting.
It's going to be a good New Year's Eve this year in Dallas.
I haven't done a New Year's Eve show for years.
We're going to fly together to Dallas.
Yeah.
It's going to be a fun little adventure for us.
Yeah. Where are we playing?
We're playing in Dallas, I believe. Yeah. It's in Dallas.
Have you been to Dallas?
I've been to Dallas before, yeah.
Have you seen Daly Square?
Yeah, I went down to the book depository.
Yeah.
I went to the top of the book depository. I went and stood on the grassy knoll.
Oh, yeah. You're a conspiracy theorist on almost everything, right?
Well, I like to watch the videos. I don't know whether I believe one story or the other story. My understanding is that JFK was assassinated by a joint operation between the Russian KGB and the Cuban Secret Service. That's my understanding. But I could be wrong about that.
Yeah. You could be.
Some people say it's just that guy Lee Harvey Oswald,
yeah.
But it seemed a little bit unlikely.
The Lee Harvey Oswald?
Well, the angles looked a little off.
Yeah.
The angles looked a little off. Because
they often say about these conspiracy theories, they say that the reason that they come up is because on one side you have JFK, and on the other side you have Lee Harvey Oswald. JFK, an enormous historical figure, and Lee Harvey Oswald, a nobody. And since people can't adjust to the fact that a nobody could kill a very important person, then they have to weigh the balance. And since they have Kennedy on one side, they have to put something equal on the other side to pretend there's justice in the world.
They do say, though, that JFK made more assassination attempts on foreign leaders than any president in the history of the United States.
Oh, karma.
On Fidel Castro was many attempts there, poison toothpaste and
poison toothpaste?
All these exploding cigars and things like that.
Yeah, I heard about the exploding cigars.
Yeah.
Yeah, poison toothpaste exploding cigars.
Right.
You got all those assassination attempts from a novelty store.
Yeah. And now Lee Harvey Oswald, of course, he was defected to Russia. He was a U.S., I believe, Navy, and he apparently was responsible for bringing the plans to Russia for the U-2 spy plane that enabled the Russians to shoot down the U-2 spy plane.
Yeah.
And then he defected.
The one that Francis Gary Powers was at the helm of?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Was that the pilot?
Yeah.
It was a U.S. pilot, wasn't it?
Yeah.
They had a French guy flying it? Who? What?
Francis Gary Powers.
Oh, Francis. Is that the pilot's name?
Yeah.
I can't remember now.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I thought you said Francis Gary Powers. Not Francis Gary Powers. I thought you said Francis Gary Powers, which doesn't sound like a French name
Gary
at all.
Powers?
No.
When I was just in Canada, they gave me a DVD of a Canadian TV movie on Rocket Richard, so I'm going to be interested in watching that. Maybe I'll bring it up to the house and we'll watch it together.
Wait, you just picked that up?
A guy gave it to me in Winnipeg, yeah.
Really? That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Does it look like a good production? Or?
Yeah, I'm very interested in seeing it because my dad hated Rocket Richard.
Yeah.
Because during the war, the French wouldn't fight. The French Canadians wouldn't fight in the Second World War. So that's when Rocket Richard broke all the records in the NHL, when all the English players were serving the Queen.
Oh, really? This is true, huh?
Yeah.
This is true?
Because, of course, the French would not want to fight in a war that in England's war. You know what I mean?
This is another thing that we have similarity in our background. We both grew up on Canadian Army bases.
Yeah, right.
CFB Valcartier.
And you were in Trenton or something, right?
Petawawa.
CFB
Petawawa.
Where the airborne was.
Yeah. My dad was Army, captain in the Army.
Yeah.
And
you know what's going on there now? Maybe in Petawawa. Do you know that story?
hazing? Are they all hazing each other?
No, there was
All
a
shitting
serial
on each other.
murderer.
They all shit on each other a lot, don't they? You remember a few years ago there was all those videos that came out with them rubbing shit all over each other? The Canadian Army? No, maybe it was a scandal not really worth bringing up again, I guess.
That was
really
the
pay
hazing?
homage to my,
That was the hazing?
There was some hazing scandal a few years ago. I thought you were going to bring that up. No, what are they doing?
Remember when you used to put the shit on the microphone?
Yeah, exactly. I'm sure that's where that came from. I'm sure that's where that came from.
Do you think you invented that whole genre, the jackass?
Well, I know I invented.
Was there anyone before
I know
you?
I invented putting poo on a microphone because
Was
I've
there
never
anyone
seen that
before you?
Well, I was, I was just kind of copying Candid Camera and Letterman, basically, But so I'm sure, yeah, sure.
No, but was there anyone before you that did the
home video stuff, running around with the video camera?
Yeah.
I was inspired by skateboard videos and things like this, and Letterman, and him yelling at people with a megaphone out of the window and all that kind of stuff. So, but
and then how do you feel? Because you obviously grew out of it.
Yeah.
Right.
Not really. No, I just.
Well, I mean, you're not like Johnny Knoxville. Like when you see Johnny Knoxville, do you go, "Holy fuck, these guys should stop"? Like Steve-O.
Yeah, I do know Steve-O. Yeah. They took the self-mutilation stuff further than I did. I did some gross stuff, but I never really got into the self, mutilation.
But my point is,
I did have my testicle removed on my show, but that was not for voluntarily.
But I'm saying, don't you feel it's a young man's game? Do you feel once they? Did you see Jackass 3?
I haven't seen that one yet. No.
Oh, it's very moving in a way.
Really?
It is in a sense. It is, but
moving.
It's a little
like a bowel movement, or
no, it's rather.
I will.
It has some very emotional moments in it, but there are times when you go, boy, these guys are getting a little. They're not kids anymore.
Yeah. Well,
Johnny has a few kids of his own.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it got to a point that the physical stuff started getting a little bit too exhausting, and that's. I sort of look at it now and I think, geez, that $150 million looks nice that they made.
Right.
So, I can't say I don't think it looks like a lot of fun what they're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why are we talking about me here?
If I said, Tom, would you give me $1 million if I cut off your leg? What would you say?
Wait, say that again.
If I offered you $1 million to cut off your leg, would you accept?
You offered me $1 million to
cut off your right leg?
No, I would not accept that.
If I offered you $1 million to cut off your left leg, would you accept?
No, but...
What about if I offered you $1 million to cut off both of your arms?
No,
would you accept? You would not accept?
No.
So you're admitting to me that your arms and legs are worth more than $3 million. Then treat them like that. Treat them like that, for God's sakes. Treat them like that.
I would get $1 million each for each limb?
No.
Oh, because I would take that. I'd take $3 million for 2 arms and a leg. I'd do that. I'd take $3 million for 2 arms and a leg, but not $1 million for 1 leg. No, I could use $3 million. I'd sit around and watch TV all day. Tap my fingers on my one good hand. I'd have the remote, right? Yeah. No, I don't.
You lose your cock too.
Yeah. What? How much for chopping the cock off? You never mentioned that.
That was implied.
I actually have questions here. I actually have some questions.
Oh, you got some questions?
Yeah,
let's. I said no questions.
Really?
No.
Do you have any SNL stories that you've never told before? Behind the scenes, any
of
stories?
SNL?
Yeah, that you've never told
I'm sure
before.
I've got millions, but what do you mean? I can't think of any.
Because something that you know.
Things happen all the
time. Is there anything that you've never talked about before that you've thought about a lot?
Sure, there's lots, but
You didn't talk about it for a reason, or?
No, I'm just.
I just need to leave.
Things changed. Things would happen every single day, so there was hundreds and thousands of stories.
Yeah. I want to try to not ask you questions that we've talked about before.
Oh, I see. Well, you have to be more specific.
Okay.
You can't ask a person to fucking ask their own question.
That's true. I thought I'd try to see if I could get away with it. I didn't.
You know what I've noticed? You've been interviewed a lot now. There's a new technique in interviewing I've noticed when I do these goddamn interviews on the phone.
Yeah.
With radio people. And at the end they go, is there anything that I didn't ask that I should have?
Uh-huh.
Have you ever heard that one?
Sure, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because they usually also ask the same questions all the time. Because we were talking about this earlier. Yeah. It's sort of basically everybody's entire life now is on Wikipedia.
Right.
So you get all the Wikipedia questions. I asked you something before the show because I'd never heard that you were a painter or a basketball player.
Right.
And it turns out you're not a painter,
not a painter
not
or
a basketball player.
Because
that's on your Wikipedia
it's on
page.
Wikipedia, yeah. That's funny.
What was it? I know we've talked about this before, but I watched it again today because I always love watching this on YouTube. When you hosted or did comedy at the White House, not the White Horse Correspondents' Dinner. That would have been cool too. And the White Horse, Yukon.
Yeah.
No, at the White House Correspondents' Dinner in front of Bill Clinton.
Yes.
Was I enjoy watching that one because of the sort of the way it really ramps up. It starts out, and I think people didn't know what to think because you really kind of come in hard on some of the people in the audience. That must have been a fun experience. Was that fun or was that nerve-wracking?
It was fun meeting Larry Flint. I think we may have talked about this. I don't know.
It was odd. I don't know if we talked about Larry Flint. Why was Larry Flint there? That was
because every year at the White House Correspondents' Dinner, somebody brings like an odd guest or a novelty guest, and this year somebody had brought Larry Flint.
Yeah.
For some reason, I think maybe because the movie came out or something like that, about him, and so he was there, and I met him afterwards, and he rolled up to me. He lives in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
And so he says to me, he says, I go, what the fuck are you talking about? So then he said, I had to get real close to him, and I get very uncomfortable around people in wheelchairs and shit like that. And
what?
Huh?
You do?
Yeah, because I have to make eye contact with them. And,
well.
And while I'm making eye contact with them, I go, I hope they don't see a weird look on my fucking face.
Right.
So
he's not sure how to act.
I don't know how to act. Yeah. So anyways, finally I understood him. He's like, "Where you coming out here? Look me up." So I'm like, "Yeah, okay, I'll look you up."
Yeah.
And he said, "I'll take care of you." So then I was like, "Take care of me? What the fuck does that mean, right?"
That sounds pretty good.
You take my Uncle Basil.
Yeah.
Back in lives back in Bell's Corners in Ottawa. If he said, "Hey, I'll take care of you when you come to Bell's Corners," that would mean if you went over to his house, he'd serve you a nice chicken pot pie, you know, and you'd watch Matlock.
Right.
But Larry Flint.
Mm-hmm.
I think it would involve me having sex with a lady.
Yeah.
And there, Larry Flint all of a sudden coming in, whacking off in a wheelchair. I'm only guessing, but.
Yeah, that doesn't sound perfect.
No.
Now, wait, you were in The People versus Larry Flint. Was this before?
That's right.
Was this before or after when you met him?
That was, I don't know. It was before. It was before I met him, yeah. I mean, it was after I met him. It was The People against Larry Flint.
Yeah. People versus Larry Flint.
People versus Larry Flint.
Yeah.
And I played one of the people.
Yeah. Weren't you were a reporter in the movie? Or?
Yeah, I was a reporter. Milos Forman, who was the director, who's this brilliant director who directed Amadeus and
Man on the Moon.
But most notably One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Yeah.
And he used to watch Saturday Night Live, and he liked me, and he got in his head that I could act. So he goes, "Norm, you're a great actor, I can tell." And I'm just doing jokes, on the Weekend Update, and I'm like, "I don't think so, Milos." I think you're wrong. And he's like, I can tell. That puts her in the movie. So he would offer me roles in movies, huge roles, right? And I would go, no, this is way too big a role, Milos. You don't want me in this. Trust me, you know? And so he would give me smaller roles. And then I played a reporter in this. And then I don't know how to drive a car, as you know. So I go, I don't even know how to drive a car. How can I be a reporter? He goes, you'll be a reporter that drives a cab. So I was a reporter that was always in the back of a cab.
Yeah.
And a cab would show up, and I'd jump out. So anyways, this is how bad an actor I am. I'm in a scene with Woody Harrelson, who played Larry Flint. And we're talking, and I'm just bullshitting with him and everything. And then all of a sudden I hear Milos go, what the fuck are you doing? I go, what? He goes, you're way off script, way off script. I didn't know I was in the scene. Because Woody Harrelson is such a convincing actor. I thought he was just talking to me.
Right.
I thought he was just speaking with me. So, he's like, why are you asking Larry Flint if he likes to smoke a lot of dope?
That's cool. So
But he's a great guy.
So when you were doing Weekend Update,
Milos told me a funny story. When he came to Los Angeles, he lived under 5 different regimes, by the way, Because when he was talking to me about Man in the Moon, he goes, how do you feel about freedom of speech? I go, I don't give a fuck. He goes, I live under regimes with no freedom. It's very important, So it really opened my eyes.
Sure.
But I forgot what I was going to say.
WikiLeaks. What do you think about that? Freedom of speech.
WikiLeaks?
WikiLeaks. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
what do I think of it?
What do you think of that freedom of speech issue right now? Is this? Are we having our press? Is our freedom of the press being infringed upon here? I don't know. I'm not smart enough to know. I mean, that's a tough one, man. What do you think? I know that if it was another country, that you might go like, hey, how dare the Iraqis stop people from stop the press, Yeah.
So I don't know.
They shut the whole site down.
They did?
They've canceled the PayPal account, his Visa cards that run the site.
Who are
shut down. Somebody, someone up there did.
And he was charged today with
I don't know
molesting 2 girls.
Yeah. I don't know if that's what he's saying. He's being framed for that. So
he's saying that, which seems probable.
Yeah, it does seem probable. You think?
Well, I mean, fuck.
You think?
Right? You think on the American government? Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Maybe if you were in the middle of taking on the government, though, maybe you'd think you could get away with it because you could always blame it on a frame-up job.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe we should.
How do you think this movie would work? People versus NormMacdonald. That wouldn't be very interesting.
I think that'd be good. I think it would be good.
What about when they do that? It's like the state of California versus you. What fucking chance do you have? The United States of America versus me.
Well, look, Wesley Snipes was on Larry King tonight. He's going to prison.
Yeah, just because he didn't pay his taxes.
Yeah. He says he just forgot or something. He claims it was a mistake. But
that's like that Steve Martin joke, remember? He says when he said a way to not pay your taxes. That's like a real thing. But he said in one of his albums, he said a way to not pay your taxes. He goes, you don't pay your taxes, and then when they come, you go, I forgot.
Yeah, that's what he's doing.
That's what Wesley's doing.
Well, no, actually, he was on Larry King, and he was actually saying that. I don't know what the fuck he was saying, to be honest with you. He was saying that he.
I think you should have
his
a money
accountant screwed up.
I think you should have. Oh yeah, I could
saying
see
his
that.
accountant screwed up, and that he was really only supposed to be getting charged with a misdemeanor, but the judge is sending him away for 3 misdemeanors, 3 years in jail, maximum sentence for a misdemeanor. But the jury was supposed to not be sending him to jail. But we don't have to talk about what Wesley.
Well, the interesting thing is, though, that with taxes, they'll always put you in jail. They won't fine you.
Yeah.
Because because otherwise people wouldn't pay their taxes, and just it'd be like a gambling thing. It'd be like an insurance policy. So I won't pay my taxes, and then if I get caught, I'll pay the fine. So every other crime, you might not go to jail except that one.
I had this thought yesterday, and I don't know if it's probably not a good idea to put this out there because it could actually happen, and then it might get traced back to me, and somehow I might end up getting in trouble for this.
Yeah.
But I had this idea, with this new, Facebook and all the social networking and our ability to rally people together, right? Somebody could very easily start a Facebook page called the Let's Not Pay Our Taxes Starting on This Date page, okay? And then everybody who joins the page, let's say it's like, 15 million people on the page. As soon as it gets to 15 million people on the page, right?
Yeah.
All of those people on one day, tax time, decide to not pay their taxes. You can't throw 15 million people in jail, right?
Yeah.
So then that works, right? And then somebody else does another similar page, because these things always get viral.
Yeah.
And then everybody does it at the same time. At the same time, that's the key, right? At the same time, everybody at the same time stops paying their taxes at the same time. That'd be a pretty crazy Facebook page, huh?
Yeah. That's a great idea.
Yeah.
And then no one would have to pay their taxes.
Yeah. But then it would trace back to this moment where I'm saying it and putting it on iTunes, and probably I'd be the one who gets thrown in the jail for everybody not paying their taxes, which doesn't seem fair to me.
No, you're just expressing an idea.
Just an idea, right?
Yeah. It's just a word, an idea, a thought.
Yeah. So we're starting this page. It could work, though. That's what's scary about
I think it could work.
It could work,
What if you said everyone on a certain date show up at Nate and Al's?
Yeah. It's see, that stuff works. It's a flash mob, right? But this is just a flash mob of people not paying their taxes.
Is that what it's called, a flash
mob? Yeah. Everybody show up at Nate and Al's at the same time, dressed as a waiter, and go top up Larry King's coffee. He eats there every day, I think.
Every day, man.
Yeah. Was it fun doing? You did an impression of Larry King?
I was on Larry King once.
Yeah, how was that?
Oh, it was fun, man. It was just fun. It's fun to be sitting. You've probably been on the show.
No, I haven't. No.
Oh, it's just fun sitting across from like an icon like that. I'll miss that guy.
Yeah.
I thought he was fantastic. I know people didn't like him, but I loved him.
I think people who say they don't like him just don't understand what they're talking about. Because it's that long format thing that is gone,
it's gone now. He's the last one.
And I was thinking it's kind
broadcaster, real broadcaster.
Yeah, I kind of gonna miss having kind of an older guy on TV hosting a show. I mean, on one hand, you have people say, "Oh, he's too old" or whatever, but I'm gonna miss having a guy on TV who's sort of been through different decades, had different perspectives on the world. Probably a certain element of just having seen it all, not.
It's like Orson Welles said. He said, he once said to a young person, he said, "I know what it is to be young, but you do not know what it is to be old."
Yeah. I'm going to miss that. Yeah, I'm going to miss that.
I miss Larry.
Yeah. You had a good zinger on him at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. That was one of the ones that got a big laugh. And
did I?
Yeah, and you said, well, I'll probably screw this up, but it was something about...
If your desserts are a little late, don't worry. They'll be coming out. Larry King just proposed to the waitress.
Yes. That's what it was, yeah. Yeah, if your dinners are a little late at table 7...
If your dinners are a little late at table 7, don't be alarmed. Larry King just proposed to the waitress.
I think you might have said he married the waitress, actually. Just married the waitress.
Yes, table 7, if you're... But the interesting thing about Larry King, the reason he gets married is he does not have premarital sex.
Yes.
People wonder why he gets married so often.
Is that true?
Yeah. He's very romantic, and so he falls in love with a girl in the same way that they did back in the 30s, you know what I mean? When there was no premarital sex.
Sure.
And then they found out come honeymoon night whether or not they were sexually compatible.
That's well, I'm not one to talk about marriages and how you're supposed to get into them, but that doesn't sound like such a good idea.
No.
So when you were doing the White House,
Reese is still doing well.
What's that?
Reese Witherspoon.
Oh yeah, she's doing good.
She's still doing well.
Yeah. So when you would look over at Bill Clinton,
yeah,
you're doing jokes.
Yes.
and he was laughing.
Yeah.
But sometimes it kind of felt like maybe he was kind of a little mad, was he? Or
Well, he kind of has to laugh. I don't know.
yeah. And Hillary looked mad.
Yeah.
Hillary looked mad at a few times.
Yeah. She was like before the thing, you meet them both, you know, and they come through the room and they walk through. I may have told you this too, but he's a big, happy drunk, you know, big red face, big red nose, the happiest guy I've ever seen, and she's sour as a, you know, sour lady. And he was walking through and talking to everybody, just talking to everybody. And it occurred to me as he was walking through, how on earth do you talk to everybody? I didn't know how. And so I was like, I wonder what he's going to say to me, like when he comes up to me, because he's speaking to every single person, and I couldn't do that. I wouldn't know what to say. So anyways, he came up to me. At the time, I was eating a pickle, you know. And he came out to me, and I said, hello, Mr. President. It's a pleasure to meet you. He goes, hello. I can't do an impression of him. He goes, hello. He goes, I see you're eating a pickle. And then he just moved on, and I was like, hey, it was cool, the president. And then late at night, when I was sleeping in my room, I bolted up upright in a cold sweat, and no, I didn't do that. But have you ever done that? I think it's only in the movie.
Bolted up at night in the cold
You know,
sweat?
in movies when they're sleeping, and they wake up and they bolt upright. Yeah. But no, later that night I was thinking, I was like, holy fuck, man, he asked me, he just said I was eating a pickle.
Sort of like he maybe goes around and just sort of comments on the most sort of obvious thing that's going on.
Yes, and you're kind of in a hypnotic state, you know, because you're talking to the leader of the free world, you know.
Yeah. I liked after. I mean, that's one thing that's great about YouTube. Have you gone back and watched that ever?
No.
You've never gone back and watched it?
No.
That's one thing that's great about YouTube, is that you can go back and watch all.
I have seen some stuff that I've done.
Because at the end of the White House Correspondents' Dinner, you see him come up and talk to you again. You didn't have the pickle at the time, but he comes up and talks to you, and there's just sort of this moment where, you know, the credits are rolling, and you're standing on the stage, and you just look so stoked, like you're like looking around with this smile on your face, like going like, holy shit, man, I just killed it in front of the president. Got to be a good feeling. Yep. You should go watch that again.
Yeah. I would have always liked to have met Pierre Trudeau, but I never got a chance.
Oh, yeah. He canoed to Cuba from Miami.
He did?
He by himself paddled to Miami.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well,
Canadian Prime Minister Pierre Elliott Trudeau.
I know he would portage across Canada with the canoe.
That's a long portage.
Yes. As a matter of fact, he was famous for saying, because apparently he made love to a woman in a canoe. And they said, how did you do that? And he said, you have to be very, very good at canoeing.
He was a funny guy.
Very funny guy, yeah. When he finally retired, they asked him what he was going to miss, and he said, well, I won't have you to kick around anymore to the press, you know.
Fuddle Duddle.
Fuddle Duddle, yeah.
Yeah. The FLQ crisis. This is I love the Canadian stuff. Fédération de Libération de Québec.
Front de Libération de Québec.
What is it?
Front de Libération de Québec.
Front, okay, yeah. Front de Libération de Québec. Yeah. The terrorists. We had terrorists.
We had terrorists before
in Canada.
America, yeah.
We had terrorists in the 60s in Canada. They were blowing up mailboxes and stuff.
Yeah.
It was martial law, right?
Martial law for 3 days, yeah.
Machine guns on the streets of Canada. Yeah. They pulled out the machine gun.
Yeah, I remember my dad, when I was a little boy, got stopped, and a guy had a machine gun by the side, and I remember being real scared.
Yeah? Was this out on the base?
It was on baseball cards, yeah. And I was really scared because my dad had the British ambassador's dead body in the trunk.
Yeah.
No, that's not true.
Was that James Cross?
Yes. Whoa.
A little Canadian history there. You know? Oh, now speaking of history, now on the because that's what the whole crisis was about, right? They killed a They killed and kidnapped a couple people.
Yeah,
Pierre Laporte, right? Pierre
Exactly.
Laporte, James Cross, and who was the other one?
Was there a third? I don't know.
I don't remember. No, but you on the this is something that's pretty cool. On Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, you won the whole damn thing for a charity.
No, I didn't.
Well, you did, but
I won. You could win $1 million. I won $500,000.
I watched that again today too. On YouTube. And, in Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, you get asked questions, you can phone a friend, it's very high stakes, a lot of tension. You got up to the last question. You'd already won $500,000 for your charity.
Yeah.
You had the opportunity to answer one more question to get $1 million. And Reed just kind of talked you out of it, didn't he?
Yes. Well, it was a huge misunderstanding that happened.
And you ended up really having the right answer.
I had the right answer. Yeah. It was a big misunderstanding that happened during the show. As I was going, I actually knew every answer to every question. And as I was going on, every time I'd go to say an answer, he'd go, "Hold on now," And I thought I saw something in his eyes, and I go, "What? Okay, I'll use my phone a friend or something." And then
you were sure you were right.
Yeah, I was pretty sure. And then the phone a friend would say that's the same answer, and I go, "I wasted a lifeline." And then he'd give me a funny look again, so I'd use my 50-50, and the same thing, And then so I wasted all my lifelines. Then I get to the $1 million answer, and I go, "I'll say number C," and I go to say it, and he goes, "Hold on now," because once you say final answer, like it's over, and he goes, "Come on. You don't want to lose $500,000 for your charity, and all this." And I thought he knew the right answer. I thought he was telling me don't go for it.
He doesn't know the answer.
Turns out he doesn't know the answer. I found that out after the show.
Yeah.
And also, between commercials, right before the $1 million answer, we were backstage watching the Notre Dame game, which is Regis's favorite team, so he was rooting them on, and I was rooting them on because I bet $50,000 on the game. And so Regis was very alarmed at my gambling.
You really had.
So if you watch the $1 million question, you can see like him going, "You got a gambling streak in you, don't you?" Like he knew that I was at that point that I was a gambler. And he didn't want me to just throw it all away. So he wasn't trying to screw me out.
No, it's clear what happened. But then, but if you were ultimately 100% sure of the answer being right.
Yeah. Well, obviously I wasn't 100% sure.
Yeah. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was fun though. And an interesting thing is, I sent $500,000 to Paul Newman and the Hole in the Wall gang, which was my charity.
You were playing for Paul Newman? He doesn't need money.
Well, he does this great stuff for Hole in the Wall gang for these sick kids, and he's my hero and everything.
Yeah.
So then he said, come to the thing and meet me, which is my dream, meeting Paul Newman. And then I didn't do it because I'm afraid of things. But
really, you were too nervous to go meet Paul Newman?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
A couple of times. Johnny Carson wanted to meet me. Paul Newman wanted to meet me. And I always think, I get what the fuck am I going to say?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, Johnny Carson's going to tell me a story, and then what do I go? Hey, want to hear a story about Chris Kattan? Like, what the fuck do I got to what do I got to tell him, So I never took it up or anything. But an interesting thing is the Hole in the Wall gang, they got this check from me.
I'd like to hear a story about Chris Kattan. I'd be happy. That'd be cool.
I guess so.
Yeah.
The $500,000 that I sent in my name to the Hole in the Wall gang, right? Now, every year, they think I have $500,000 all the time.
Oh, okay.
So they want me to send. So I send them a couple of thousand. And then they sent me another letter, a week later going,
"Where's the rest?"
Yeah. Exactly.
What do you think about Sarah Palin?
Sarah Palin?
I know you're pretty apolitical.
Yeah, I'm apolitical, yeah. But I have opinions about people.
Yeah, you tend to not weigh in too much on one side or the other.
I'm very unpolitical because I don't know things. So I don't dare I don't dare have an opinion on things I don't know.
But you've made some pretty wild political statements over the years. Like,
well, maybe just for laughs. But Sarah Palin, though, I think is a moron.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's pretty evident.
Now,
so I think, and I don't think Republicans would really want her to be their their spokesman.
Do you think there's a possibility that that could happen, or how would you feel about that if that happened?
Well, I think it would be terrible because I think we should have a choice, you know, as little choice as we have. 2 people, that's our choice.
Yeah.
But it would be it's better than 1.
Yeah. It's sometimes odd that there's
so
only...
if Sarah Palin was one of them, then you'd only have 1 choice.
Yeah. It's this pendulum swinging back and forth.
Yeah.
Between the right and the left. Why don't they have 4 parties?
Yeah, like Canada.
Yeah. Maybe a new Democratic Party and a Bloc Québécois. That'd be cool. If the Bloc Québécois got a party going down here in the States. The Reform.
The Reform Party.
So now, what do you think about the fact that O.J. Simpson ended up in prison after all? Because I
think it's terrible.
I
think it's awful. I think that you shouldn't go to prison for your life for stealing something that was originally yours in the first place. Like, you're stealing a jersey that you owned, and then you're given life in prison for that?
Yeah.
That's insane. That's crazy.
Yeah. Do you think it was a little bit of okay, we didn't get you last time, so...
Yeah.
And the reason I ask you this is because...
I do think that.
Yeah. It is that.
And I think it's bad for O.J. because there's a thing in prison called a pecking order.
Mm-hmm.
So a person who steals his own sports memorabilia, very low on the pecking order. Double murderer, very high on the pecking order. So now he's in prison. They're like, hey, we're gonna rape you, OJ. All you did was steal your own shirts. He's like, no, I killed 2 people. They're like, we saw the trial with photo quit for blah blah blah.
What was the now?
This is what I saw after the trial. This is how stupid jurors are. After the O.J. trial, I see this big fat woman that was on there, because you tend to think of jurors as wise or something. I don't know why, but you tend to think of them as wise people, jurors.
Right.
But afterwards, they interviewed this one woman that was a juror, big fat woman. Doesn't have anything to do with anything. I guess. Her weight, but she was huge.
Right.
And so
she was smart. She probably would have known to not eat so many cheeseburgers.
Exactly. So this fat pig, no. So they're interviewing her, and they're asking her about the blood evidence because Darden talked about the blood evidence for 6 straight days.
Yeah.
He introduced all this blood evidence that showed that, it was 1 trillion to 1 that it wasn't OJ. So they say, well, you say this woman, they say, what about the blood evidence? Yeah. So she goes, everybody got blood. She goes, if it don't fit, you must acquit.
Yep.
She remembered the rhyme.
Sure, the rhyming was what did it, I think.
A guy was telling me that, do you know the lawyer Jerry Spence? Are you familiar with that lawyer? He's from Colorado, and he wears a cowboy hat.
Cowboy hats all the time.
Fringe. He wears fringe.
Yeah.
Yeah. So apparently in the closing arguments, you can say anything.
Mm-hmm.
You're not bound by anything. So I know this guy who worked at a law firm, and he said every time Jerry Spence would be the defense, he'd always get everybody off. And this is what he'd do. He'd say, no matter what the facts of the case were, he'd say, he'd talk about the case, and he'd go, that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, before I go, I'd like to tell you a story. And then the prosecution would go, objection! And the judge would go, let him tell the fucking story. So then he'd tell the story, and this was the story. He would go, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I'd like to tell you a story about a young boy, a precocious young boy, that went up to a very wise old man. And the boy held in his hand a bird. And he said to the wise old man, he said, you're the wisest man that I know. I have a bird in my hand, and I'm going to give you a puzzle. If you say A, you can say A or you can say B. If you say A, I will let the bird go, or I will crush the bird. If you say B, I will let the bird go, or I will crush the bird. "What do you say, old man? A or B?" And the old man thought about it. And the old man looked at the boy, and he said, "Son, the bird is in your hands. Ladies and gentlemen, the bird is in your hands." And he said, like 20 minutes later, they come back, "Innocent."
Sort of like a multi-purpose closing comment.
Yeah, it worked for everything.
Works every time.
Yeah.
That's good.
And so then
It's a
the woman
formula.
that drowned her 14 children should get off because of the bird story.
Yeah. Was he involved with the Ramsey case too? John
Yes, he was, yeah.
Yeah. Well, that sucks.
Oh, Jerry Spence. All the best lawyers are now colorful characters.
Yeah.
It used to be they were
Just-
like Clarence Darrow and stuff. Now they're just clowns.
They all want to get reality shows now.
Yeah, exactly. You like reality shows now.
I haven't been watching much TV lately.
Oh, you don't like them?
haven't
I
been
thought you liked them for some reason.
I've liked them, but I haven't lately. The last year or two, I haven't really been watching any television.
Yeah, I haven't either.
Just nothing.
Me neither.
Nothing at all.
I watch sports. But
Haven't seen one episode of the Jersey Shore.
Uh-huh.
Haven't seen one episode of John and Kate +8.
Yeah.
Didn't watch Sarah Palin's premiere.
Uh-huh.
I don't watch anything.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah, nothing. Nothing at all.
Well, you got the YouTube, man. You can just watch stuff all day on that.
Yeah. So wait, now, you think television's changed a lot for the worse now? I mean, when you think back.
Oh yeah. Way worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does it make you angry? Does it make you sad? Does you miss the way things?
Well,
used
I
to
would
be?
miss it if it wasn't for YouTube. I watch YouTube all day long.
What'll you watch on YouTube if you sit down to watch YouTube? What will you type in? Give some suggestions to our listeners here.
Well, as you know, I'm a Nixonophile. I'll watch anything with Richard Nixon in it.
Yeah.
So I'm always searching for new Nixon stuff. Lately, I've been watching a lot of Sterling Hayden.
Okay.
So if you wanna check Sterling Hayden out, there's some fascinating Christopher Hitchens stuff on there right now because he's dying of esophageal cancer, and he speaks about it all the time on YouTube.
Okay. Now, who's Christopher?
He's the famous atheist that wrote "God Is Not Great."
Oh, okay. Is he writing a new epilogue now, just in the last moments of life? Maybe changing a few.
No, he's changed nothing.
No?
He's changed nothing.
No second guessing?
No.
Yeah.
No. But it's fascinating because he talks about his death in a very candid way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is it? Well, I find myself somewhat fascinated by this too. This kind of stuff. Death.
Death. Yeah.
Scary.
Well, he tells a very poignant, interesting story about the moment that he was in a book tour, riding high. And he woke up in the Four Seasons Hotel in New York coughing and vomiting and feeling nauseous and ready to pass out. And he phoned 911 and they came and they took him to the hospital. And he said later, he said the thing he feels the most in his life is that he will never return to that day before when he felt fantastic.
Yeah.
And that he said that the paramedics that picked him up were literally escorting him from the life of the living to the life of the dying.
Yeah.
Yeah, very interesting stuff.
And has his outlook changed now? Is he living life for the moment? Or is he just not?
No,
happy,
he says he
not
continues on with. He continues on. He says he's much more interested in what he's always been interested in, which is politics and the bigger picture stuff. He finds much more interesting than bone marrow.
Yeah.
That's the way he puts it.
Sure, yeah. Well, now, the Bud Dwyer video is something we've talked about before, which you've done a parody of, I guess. Is it a parody of in the past? Bud Dwyer, one of the few people in modern television history to commit suicide with a handgun on camera, on live television.
Yeah, Bud Dwyer. Probably only I find this funny, but I used to watch it over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Bud Dwyer had.
It's on YouTube, but they cut away before he actually.
Yeah, they cut away, but I got one where they don't.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
But yeah, Bud Dwyer held a press conference.
What do you mean you have one? You have it was a secret tape or something?
I have, yeah. I have. I'll show it to you.
Yeah.
But Bud Dwyer was a Pennsylvania politician who was plagued by scandal and so forth, and so he held a press conference in front of all these press, and he did a long 20-minute rambling speech, at the end of which he pulled out a giant paper bag from which he extracted the biggest gun you've ever seen, and then blew his head off.
Yeah.
But I admire him. I admire him.
Sort of the ultimate punchline, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
You sort of you can't get a more of a shocked reaction out of a crowd than by doing that, I guess.
And one guy has a funny line right before.
Do you admire him for that reason? Because you like to get a shocked reaction out of people when you are performing.
No, I just admire him for committing suicide in an interesting way and not a pathetic way. But one guy had a very, very funny line right before he blew his head off. He said, "No, Bud, no."
Right, somebody in the crowd yelled that.
Bud. The guy's name was Bud.
Right. Well, that makes it even crazier.
No, Bud, no.
What on Saturday Night Live when you did Weekend Update, often there was sort of shocking lines like about Michael Jackson. I enjoyed reading about it today, about the audible gasps from the audience sometimes when you would say things about Michael Jackson. Or was that something that was in the script, or did you sort of slip some of that in?
Well, no, Lauren gave me a lot of latitude. He said, although he said, you don't want to be sued by Michael Jackson, And I said, yeah, that'd be fun. Like, wouldn't it be cool being sued by Michael Jackson?
Yeah.
That would raise your profile a little bit.
Like the day after the O.J. trial, which is why I was asking you about O.J. earlier, the opening line of was murder is now legal in the state of California.
Oh, yeah.
One of the great lines from Weekend Update history, I think.
Michael Jackson was more of a danger, I think, than O.J. Simpson. I would rather have seen Michael Jackson incarcerated than O.J. Simpson, because O.J. Simpson, wouldn't murder anybody else. Murder doesn't have a very high recidivism rate, but child molesting has 100% recidivism rate.
What's that word? I've never used that word.
Repeat rate.
Yeah, I know what you meant. But
recidivism.
Recidivism?
RECIDIVISM.
Really? Murder doesn't have
Check
a high
your
recidivism?
OED. What?
Murder doesn't have a high recidivism rate?
Well, serial murder, but not murder, no.
Yeah, so, well, there you go.
You want to hear something about Silence of the Lambs I learned today?
Yeah, absolutely.
You ever see that movie?
Oh, yeah.
Why was, this is what a guy told me, why was Clarice so upset about the lambs?
Yeah, why was she so upset about that?
Doesn't make any fucking sense, right? Like he goes, the lambs, Clarice, you dream about the lambs. And she said she saw some lambs like slaughtered at midnight. Who the fuck slaughters lambs at midnight?
Right.
And then what happened to her? She was sent away by her father.
Okay, I'm not exactly clear on what happened. I've sort of been a few years since I've seen it. She was sent away. Okay.
Yeah, she's very upset about the lambs being slaughtered.
Yeah.
And Hannibal Lecter seizes on this, and she has dreams about them. Mm-hmm. You dream about the lambs, Clarice? So this guy just told it to me, and then as soon as he said that, I was like, yeah, it doesn't make any fucking sense.
Yeah.
So anyways, it turned out what happened was a farmer fucked her in her ass.
Is this a real subtext of the movie here?
Yeah.
It is?
Yeah.
What, did you get the Coles notes on this? Or
No, a guy told me. He wrote his dissertation on it in university.
Okay.
A fella named Mike Gibbons.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, he told me this.
So
And he said, watch Silence of the Lambs again, and you'll realize it makes no sense that Hannibal Lecter keeps going, tell me about the lambs, Clarice, and she keeps getting so upset by it.
yeah.
And also in the picture, he says, she has a dog that looks exactly like a lamb.
Okay.
So there's a little interesting piece of...
What, well, yeah, absolutely. That is interesting, yeah.
Most serial killers, by the way, are not cunning. They're sub-retards.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I think that if they made them less cunning in popular culture, it would be better for us, you know, because most of them are sub-retards with IQs of 70 or 80. It's psychosexual. They whack off all over the fucking body while they stab it.
Yeah.
Which is far from glamorous.
Yeah.
And so I think instead of you calling them the Night Stalker or the Son of Sam, if you called them like the fucking guy who likes whacking off over dead fucking women, maybe they wouldn't be writing the letters to the editor so much.
Yeah. Probably be less, they wouldn't be doing it as much.
Yeah, because they do it. They do it for fame and glory.
Yeah.
You know? It's been glorified.
Yeah. They're made to sort of seem like...
What on earth is glorious about a killer?
No, nothing. Yeah, people copycat it, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So you think about this stuff
That'd
way
be a
too
good.
much.
That'd be a good title for a serial killer. The copycat.
Yeah.
And he could just copycat all famous serial killings.
Yeah. Another idea like the tax evasion
That
website
we shouldn't
that
throw out there.
you don't want to throw out there into the universe. Okay, well let me do a quick. I'm
What
gonna
about
go through
this
my questions.
one? What about this one?
Yeah.
You know, when you go to a ATM and you put your check in and then you lick the envelope and put it in?
Yeah, I haven't done that in a few years. Where
No, but people do it.
You make deposits in the bank machine?
I
Here
don't,
in-
but I think some people do. But what if you poisoned all the things that you lick?
Yeah. Poison the envelopes
Yeah.
at the ATM machine.
So when people lick it, they're licking poison.
That'd be the liquor
Killer.
sticker upper. Yeah, see, these are more bad ideas we shouldn't be putting out there into the world.
What, you got another question?
Yeah, I got more questions. Yeah, I got more questions.
This is a beautiful theater, by the way.
Isn't this nice? Isn't it amazing?
And
Live from the
that's a great idea Kevin Smith had.
SModCastle. Absolutely. Actually, we're not live.
Great director that I admire greatly.
Yes, this is really cool. It's fun to be able to do this here every night. You guys having fun tonight? All right. What a crowd we got
It's
tonight.
a wild crowd.
Full house here tonight. Full house. Have you ever been arrested?
Why do you ask that?
I don't know. Just I don't know the answer. That's why. Seems like it's a yes to me. But
yeah, I've been arrested.
really, yeah. Okay, I don't want to ask what for, but unless you feel like talking about it.
Yeah, but I got a conditional. I mean, I got a conditional discharge that turned into an absolute discharge, so I have a clear record that no one could ever find.
Oh, that's good. Okay. When would you consider that you got in the most trouble here in? It doesn't have to be when you got arrested, but have you ever done anything where where you've actually felt like you've gotten in a lot of trouble?
Like
What was that?
life-threatening, you mean?
Just trouble, just something where you said to yourself, I'm in trouble right now, whether it was at work, at school, growing up, last week, anything.
Well, one time I was playing pool in a strip club, and I was a young boy, and there was this little guy with long hair, looked a little like, put me in mind of Charlie Manson.
Okay.
But he
What
was.
year would this have been?
When did the Tate LaBianca killings?
Okay, 70s or something?
Yeah. No. He was. This was probably I would say 78.
Okay.
So this was in Vancouver. So I was a kid, you know, and I was playing pool, and this guy kept looking at me, and I was drunk, and I was like, hey, whatever the fuck. What, you want to fight? You fucking stop looking.
But you were
at me.
drunk?
I was drunk, yeah.
Yeah, and you were 8?
18.
Oh, 18, okay.
I wasn't 18. I was probably like 50 or something like that. So I was like, what the fuck you want, man? You want what's the fuck, right? So this guy, anyway, it turns out he's with a giant gang of people. And so instead of him getting up, 12 guys get up, and they're all walking towards me. And I go, fuck, you know. So I start backing up, you know. And they're getting closer and closer. So I grab a beer. It's like a fucking cool thing from a movie. I grab a beer bottle from a table, right? And I go, you want to fucking mess with me? Come on, man. Who wants to be fucking first? You know, I'm holding this fucking beer bottle, right? So this big guy comes out of the fucking crowd, and he takes the beer bottle from my hand, and he puts it on the table. So then the little guy punches me in the face. So then I run away. But I left my buddy there who got really badly beaten up.
Yeah. Wow, yeah, that's trouble.
Yeah, it hurt our friendship for a long time. Yeah.
It was nice of him to remove the beer bottle.
Yeah, very gently, you know.
Did you have fun making dirty work with Artie Lang?
Yeah. I loved it.
How is Artie doing?
Artie's doing very well right now.
Had sort of a scary...
Very, very frightening. Very frightening. Very frightening.
He's doing well.
Yeah, he's doing great.
And you're working on a new show for Comedy Central. Is this happening? The sports show? We want this to happen.
Well, we did a pilot. I don't know. You know how pilots work, Tom.
Yeah, but it's a sports show.
Yeah, it's a sports show. It's a weekly sports show.
And you're pretty into sports.
I'm somewhat. I'm not like crazy, but I like sports a lot.
Okay, well, let's
sports?
everybody online send an email to Comedy Central, and let's get that show on the air.
You know what I like about sports, Tom?
Yeah.
That I don't like about politics or religion or so forth, is that I could talk to you about sports and have a big argument, and at the end there would be no hard feelings. We'd love each other just like we did before.
Yeah.
It doesn't break up families. I would rather argue over...
Unless you're arguing with someone from Toronto about the Leafs.
Yeah, that's true. But I would rather argue over the inconsequential than the consequential, since I know nothing about either. And everybody I talk to doesn't know a fucking thing about either.
Yeah. Stay away from religion and politics.
Yeah. I mean, I won't stay away from religion. I'll go and I'll go to my church and I'll accept my Savior, but I'm not going to fucking talk about it and argue with people about it.
No. What about on stage? Do you ever do jokes about religion or politics, or?
I make brief mention of it, because I'll tell you something about the Christian religion. That's the thing I like least, is that one of our tenets is to bring other people into the fold so they can have eternal life as well. You understand? Now, you do that enough, you don't get invited to many parties. And also, I don't give a fuck. I'd rather, if it was up to me, I'd rather be up on a cloud playing the harp watching my friends get raped by the devil. That actually would be a lot of fun for me. But anyways, I didn't write the book, and there you go.
Okay, cool. Well, now what's the next? Any stand-up dates you're excited about coming up soon?
Well, I'm glad. I've never performed with you before. Well, I did perform with you once before.
When I first started doing this again.
Yes.
You were nice enough to let me come out and
the Brea Improv or the Irvine Improv, one of those.
Irvine Improv.
Irvine
We had a
yeah.
fun weekend out there.
That was very fun. Yeah.
We're gonna have a fun New Year's this year.
You, me, and Keith Reza.
Yeah, I'm excited to be actually doing something on New Year's Eve this year.
What do you usually do?
Often, I've had some bad New Year's. I've had some. I often find myself. Well, this is going to sound like I don't want to boo-hoo away here, but I remember one New Year's where I was alone in my apartment in Quebec, actually. I was probably about 23 years old and depressed, actually. Didn't really feel like doing anything. And I went to bed at around 6 or something like that, thinking I'll just wake up and New Year's Day it'll be over. Right?
6 p.m.
Yeah, 6 p.m. thinking I'll just sleep through the whole thing, and then I don't have to be not doing anything on New Year's Eve. But then I woke up at around 11:30 because there was a party going on next door. But I didn't know the people that lived next door to me in this apartment building. So I went out and stood in the hallway by the garbage chute with a bag of garbage, pretending I was about to toss the garbage into the garbage chute, hoping that someone would open the door and invite me in for like a glass of eggnog or something like that. So I stood there for about 20, 25 minutes or so, and then I realized it wasn't happening, so I went back into my apartment and I turned on the TV and I watched Rambo was on TV. And then I went to bed. So I've had a lot of New Year's like that.
Yeah, it can be sad when you're alone and next door something happy is happening to put in more relief your despair.
Yeah.
One time I was in Las Vegas, Nevada, and I had lost all my money, and went back in shock up the elevator into my room, where I lay down upon my bed, and in kind of stunned and sad and alone. And in the next room, raucous sex, right behind me.
Right.
Just the hottest sex, and it made me very, very depressed. And so I turned on the porno, on that Spectravision, and exact same sound.
Yeah.
So the guy was just watching the same porno as me, and then I got creeped out and I couldn't whack off anymore.
Kind of hard to jack off in tandem with the guy in the room next to you, right?
Yeah.
You don't really want to watch the movie anymore.
No.
Well, this has been great. This has been a lot of fun, Norm. We're going to take a couple of questions from the audience.
Oh, cool.
I appreciate you coming down here.
Yeah, it's fun,
This
man.
is always exciting. Let's take a few questions from the audience here. I'm going to actually go out into the audience right now.
Well, he's got a mic there. You have to go?
Yeah, I'm going to go out there because I want to be like Monty Hall.
Oh, okay. Monty Hall. Phil Donahue.
Check. We on here? Yes. Okay. Raise your hand if you have a question for Norm Macdonald. Here we go. What's your name?
My name is Ann.
Stand up, Ann.
I don't think I can stand any taller. Oh, no poop, right?
No poop on the microphone.
You say you have lots of stories of Chris Kattan. What's one of them that's memorable?
About Chris Kattan? Well, there was this one time where he was very, very memorable because we always came to the table with different characters, on Wednesday for the Saturday show. You'd have to come there with a character that you created. And here Chris Kattan, out of the blue, came to the table with a character who was heterosexual.
That is a funny, weird story. Okay, next question. Who else? Someone else. Raise your hand. Come on, someone else with a question for Norm Macdonald. Yeah, I saw your hand up there. Okay, excuse me here. What's your name, sir? And stand up and introduce yourself to Norm.
My name's Mike. Hey,
Hey,
I saw you in St. Louis, Missouri about a year or so ago.
Oh, really?
And you quoted some crazy long limerick of a country line or something that a man had told you the night before. You know what I'm talking about? You ended the show with it, and nobody laughed. But it was really long-winded. And
Oh, was it Shel Silverstein's The Ballad of Billy Markham?
it could have been.
Oh, you want me to do that?
Yeah.
Oh. How'd that go? How'd that go? Yeah, so go for another question.
Another question. Another question.
Strange things done in the midnight sun. But
Yeah. Are you from St. Louis? Yeah. Okay. Well, that's you just stumped the band there. That's pretty good. Okay. Well, another question.
Oh, I got it.
Oh.
The devil walked into Linnabaug's on a rainy Nashville night as the lost souls sat and sipped their soup in the yellow neon light. Devil, he looked around the room, then he got down on his knees. He said, "Is there anyone among you scum who will roll these dice with me?" Now, Red, he just looked away and took another sip of beer. Eddie, he just strummed his guitar and pretended not to hear. Vince, he said, "Not me, I'll pass. I've had my share of hell," and kept scribbling on a napkin with some song he was sure it'd sell. Ronnie kept whispering low to the snuff queen clutching his sleeve. Somebody coughed and the devil scoffed and he turned on his heel to leave. "Hold on," said the voice from the back of the room, "before you walk out of that door. If it's some action you're looking for, friend, well, I've rolled some dice before." And there stood Billy Markham. He'd been on the scene for years, singing all them raunchy songs of the town we want to hear. He'd been cut and bled 1,000 times and his eyes were wise and sad. All his songs were songs of the street. All his luck was bad. "I know you," says Billy Markham, "from many a dark and funky place, but you always spoke in a different voice and you wore a different face. While me, I've gambled here on Music Row with hustlers and with whores, and hell, I ain't afraid to roll them devilish dice of yours." "Well, you can get down," says the devil, "just as if you was going to pray. Take these dice in your luckless hands to tell you how the game is played. You get one roll and you bet your soul, and if you roll 13, you win, and all the joys of flesh and gold are yours to touch and spend. If that 13 don't come up, you better kiss your ass goodbye and will your useless bones to God, 'cause your goddamn soul is mine." 13, says Billy Markham. "Well, I've played in tougher games. I've loved ambitious women, and I've rode on wheelless trains. So give me room, you stinking fiend, and let it all unwind. Ain't nobody rolled a 13 yet, but this just might be the time." Billy Markham, he takes the dice. "The dice are as heavy as stones. They should, the devil cries, 'cause they're carved from Jesus' bones." Billy Markham, he turns the dice, and the dice, they have no spots. "Sorry," says the devil, "but they're the only dice I got." "Well, shit," says Billy Markham, "you know, I really don't mean to bitch, but I never thought I'd stake my soul in a sucker's game like this." "Well, then walk away," says the devil. "Ain't nobody tying you down." "Walk away where?" says Billy Markham. "This is the only game in town. But I really should say, before I make my play, that if I should chance to lose, I will this guitar to some would-be star who ain't afraid to sing the honest blues, who ain't afraid to say the words like damn or shit or fuck, who ain't afraid to bare his ass on the stage where he makes his bucks. But if he should play this guitar safe, sing some sugary lies, I'll haunt him till we meet in hell. Now give me them fucking dice." And Billy Markham, he takes the dice and he yells, "Come on, 13. And the dice, they roll and they come up blank. "You lose," the devil screams. "But I really should say, before we go on our way, I sure do like your style. Of all the fools I played and beat, you're the first that's lost with a smile." "Well, shit," says Billy Markham, "you know, these odds were too damn bad. 13 years of Music Row, it's the best damn chance I've had." So Billy Markham and the devil, they walk out of Linnabaug's door, leaving Billy's beat-up guitar lying there on the floor. And if you go into Linnabaug's now, you can see it there today, hanging from a nail on a wall of peeling gray. Billy Markham's old guitar that nobody dares to play. That one?
Yeah. Norm Macdonald, everybody. Norm Macdonald. Any last questions? How do you know this poem?
Some guy told me it in St. Louis the night before. I have a good memory.
And you remembered the whole thing from the night before?
Yeah, I have a good memory, Tom.
Do you have a photographic memory? Is that what it's called?
My dad had a photographic memory. I'm not sure I have one.
Wow. I think you probably do. Well, this has been a lot of fun tonight. Thank you, Norm Macdonald.
Thanks, Tom. That was awesome. Thanks for coming, guys.
Always good to see you. Thank you very much, everybody here tonight at the show, everybody who came down to the SModCastle. I'll be taking a couple of weeks off for the holidays, and then we'll be back in January. So tell your friends. Thanks for coming. Good night, everybody.
Happy New Year's. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year.
Tom Green Show. The Tom Green Show. The Tom Green Show. The Tom Green Show. The Tom Green Show. Tom